people, Haitians wear proudly the badge of self-ownership, of unassailable somebodyness, which we honor deeply and from which we can learn much as we celebrate Black History and Heritage Month. Allow me to contextualize my comments. As we develop our capacity for both resistance and somebodyness, keep in mind several things. Number one, the populist mood of the West. Number two, the backlash in Europe and America against the actual and perceived empowerment of Black and brown peoples, including African, African American, African Caribbean, Latin American, Asian, and Native populations. And number three, the fear of 2040, when it is projected that the Latinx community will be more than one-half the immigrant population of America. These things are driving the anti-immigrant hysteria and hastily drawn up, ill-advised policies and ill-devised plans of the resident, vice president, and the Republican Congress, oligarchs all, to make America great again. Haiti has always been a scapegoat for anti-immigrant policy. Now the focus is on the Latinx community right at our southern border. Population growth among Black and brown communities provides stronger political, social, and economic leverage for people at or near the bottom of nearly every political, social, and economic indicator, groups which are non-monolithic, diffuse, dispersed, which have various class interests, and, if we are honest, the capacity to simulate whiteness and or reject its perquisites. And so, like the African American community and the Caribbean community generally, and the Haitian community particularly have been, so the Latinx community has to be strategically, preemptively, and as thoroughly as possible interdicted in their quest for power. This is the rationale behind the gerrymandering, which is the real locus of voter fraud in this country, the rush to build an expensive, unnecessary, ultimately ineffectual border wall, and the ICE raids targeted against Mexicans and Arabs from North Africa and the so-called Middle East. And yet we often talk about the Arabian, Latinx, Caribbean, and African American communities as if they don't share African heritage, that we are not family, and that therefore the prima facie causes of our oppression are not, in many instances, the same markers of identity: skin color, hair texture, and the likelihood that we are economically disadvantaged. For, as the Guyanese historian, political activist, and scholar Walter Rodney stated, nothing follows Black people everywhere we live in the world more doggedly than poverty. This is true for brown peoples too, and Native peoples too, to whom the oligarchs in power are doing whatever they want in order to get what they want: more money and more power, which translates into ability and authority to have their way with the good of this goodly world, and leaves them and some of our people with the illusion that they are gods, the Illuminati, or whatever it is they associate with limitless power. This is why we who worship the true and living God have to be strategic, preemptive, and find ways to destroy the racist, sexist, heterosexist, transphobic, and religiously sanctioned dogmas and policies that keep us under the illusion that we are separate, and that our quest for autonomy, empowerment, our quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, our quest to be fully vested human beings is a zero-sum game. And the fact is that Haiti provides a model of successful resistance to this anthropological poverty that we are experiencing. This is why Black theology and womanist theology, developing world liberation theologies, Black feminisms, and the truth about Black lives and why they matter must continue to be learned about and taught in this place, or, and I say this in all seriousness, we may not survive, none of us. The oligarch's lust for power is so great, we have an obligation to ask ourselves, what's the worst they can do? And we must be clear that they are capable of the greatest violence. Then, armed with love and the truth we know about ourselves and our neighbors, we have to decide whether or not we will surrender to the spirit at work in us that is nudging us to watch, fight, and pray against our own limiting beliefs and against the despair that threaten to overtake us, against alternative facts coming from those unacquainted with truth, against our own forgetfulness of our obligation to protect the least of these, whoever they happen to be today. Amen.
Yes, sorry. Blessings happen when we see the presence of God in our surroundings and in our experiences. Those of us who traveled to Haiti in January of 2017 realize that God indeed chooses places where desperation is palpable, those spaces where people are without comfort or health, those places where people hunger for food and basic human needs. We who traveled together as representatives of CTS learned that when we go into those places, when we seek and serve those who dwell there, that we find the real presence of the Holy One. Finding the Holy One, we bring a message of love back to CTS and share with you some of the blessings and reflections we experienced. Blessed are the poor in spirit, Jesus says to his disciples on the mountain. Many for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Our hearts are filled with hope for those with whom we interacted that feel despair. May our prayers lift their spirits and, most importantly, may their conditions be changed by the way in which we put into action the lessons we learned together in Haiti. Blessed are... Go ahead. Seven years to the day since the tragic earthquake in 2010, we mourned with those who lost loved ones in Port-au-Prince during the tragic 2010 earthquake. May their hearts be filled with peace. May the efforts toward recovery be undeterred. May they be protected from further disaster.
Blessed are the meek, he says to his friends, for they will inherit the earth.
If these words be true, which we believe them to be, then thank you, Jesus, for the coming peace for our brothers and sisters in Haiti. Yet while this blessing speaks to peace in the afterlife, we request your intervention now for their present prosperity, health, and comfort in their lifetime, Lord.
Bless the hungry and thirsty for righteousness, he says.
Bless the merciful, bless the pure in heart.
We are so thankful for the many hands and many talents we encountered in Haiti, both local and foreign, who believe in a better tomorrow for Haiti and work each day tirelessly to that end. Lift their spirits, Lord, renew their passion and hopefulness each day.
But blessed are your eyes, Jesus tells me. For they see, and your ears, for they hear.
May we who shared the experience with CTS in January continue to tell our stories. May we put into action the lessons we learned so that many hands, many talents, and many resources keep pouring into the Haitians that are the future of Haiti. May we help them find the partnerships that ultimately help them achieve their own sustainable social, economic, vocational, and spiritual objectives.
And as this litany of beatitudes draws to a close, let us share together in one little known blessing that my brother, Tim Wright, helped me discover.
Blessed is he or she who carries the beer money. He or she shall partake first of the prestige.
Oh, seriously, I'm thankful for the light moments we had as a team during our journey, the many moments that we were able to share in laughter. The emotions we felt each day would have been overwhelming, but for the renewing fellowship we shared around the dinner table each night.
Blessed are those who hear the word of God and obey it.
For all of us here today, may we take time after this chapel service to reflect upon what we have seen, what we have heard, and perhaps what we are called to do. In closing, we are thankful to have experienced a fantastic legacy in Haiti, which is an incredibly ripe source from which to draw strength, as well as empower future development and self-determination.
In 1697, the French crown took control of the western part of the island of Hispaniola. Over the next 100 years, sugar and coffee plantations would come to dominate the landscape and the economy, and Saint-Domingue, as Haiti was called at that time, came to be known as the richest piece of land in the world. By 1789, the year of the French Revolution, 60% of the world's coffee and 40% of the world's sugar came from Saint-Domingue, which held world records for both coffee and sugar production. The sheer importance of this colony for France's economy made the fact of the Haitian Revolution all the more astonishing. In 1791, enslaved Africans exploded in a revolt unprecedented in human history. This slave rebellion, led by former slave Toussaint Louverture and later by Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, and Alexandre Pétion, succeeded at overthrowing the colonial regime and expelling the French. The new Haitian government declared independence on January 1st, 1804. In retaliation, the United States and European nations imposed global economic embargoes against the new Republic of Haiti. And under the threat of attack, France demanded reparations of roughly 150 million francs as compensation for having denied French property owners of their human and material property. This would be the equivalent of about 40 billion US dollars today, and even though that amount would be reduced a few years later to 90 million francs, to give a basis for comparison, the US paid France 80 million francs in the Louisiana Purchase. This was a huge amount. To pay this debt, Haiti was constrained to borrow from private French banks, whose rates were very high. This was the first time in history that reparations would be imposed by a defeated nation on the nation that defeated it. Over the years following independence, Haiti faced other kinds of exclusions on a global level. The Vatican, for example, didn't formally recognize Haiti until 1860. This had a devastating effect because of how religious orders were the backbone of formal education systems at that time. The US, for one, was originally afraid the Haitian Revolution would inspire events in America and pursued a policy to isolate Haiti. We didn't even formally recognize Haitian independence until 1862. Other factors that contributed to their exclusion, such as landowners and politicians within Haiti colluding with foreign merchants, a continued external dependency, and still being subjected to the whims of the powerful regimes that controlled the world around them, have all conspired to keep Haiti economically depressed. By 1915, 111 years after independence, some 80% of the Haitian government's resources were being paid out in debt service to French and American banks on loans that they had to make in order for Haiti to pay reparations to France. The American loan was finally paid off in 1947, and Haiti was left virtually bankrupt. The economy has never really recovered. But let me be clear, this economic poverty has not diminished their spirit. This historical narrative, the fact that Haiti was the first country to have had a successful slave revolt and to have created a new country of their own making, was present in nearly every conversation we had with Haitians who wanted to tell us something about their country. And what an incredible thing that was. Once we think seriously about the Haitian Revolution, we can see its centrality to the history of decolonization. What followed the revolution was a series of moments that would eventually lead to the end of slavery around the world. Although no large-scale rebellion followed this one, the Haitian Revolution made visible what might be possible for others and set the terms of debate for the struggle for the end of slavery. In 1807, just 3 years after Haiti declared independence, Britain abolished the slave trade. Slavery itself would be abolished in the British colonies in 1833 and in French colonies in 1848. During Black History Month, we would do well to rethink the central place of the Haitian Revolution in the history of the world. Privileging this incredible historical moment and its global ramifications helps us understand that this is not the history of a people to be pitied for the poverty of their economy. Their rich and inspiring history defines for Haitians a proud heritage with global significance. Despite having the cards stacked against them, Haitians radically altered world history, and to this we owe them a great debt. On our trip to Haiti last month, we were on the lookout for what could explain the resilience of the Haitian spirit, and it is certainly to be found in these historical narratives. We went there to learn from the Haitian people and came away having been humbled and forever changed. We learned that for projects of goodwill to succeed, we must first drop our own superior attitude, and knowing the history of this incredible country helps tremendously in that regard.
Thank you very, very much for this great honor. Not only because you visited a place that is dear to my heart, my home, the place that gave me everything and that made me who I am today, which is perhaps not much, but I am a work in progress. I wish I could speak longer about Haitian history because this is part of my life. As a child, most Haitians, we didn't realize how much we drank from the well of Haitian history. Just as you have a meal that you eat, it's not something that you look in a recipe book, but something that you assimilate. You eat it, you drink it, and it becomes part of you. And then you live it. You live it every day. You don't live it in the classroom because you have a test to take, but you live it and reenact and enact what our ancestors gave us as legacy, as example. So we ask ourselves the question, what is the purpose of my life? And the purpose of our lives, of course, is predicated upon how we understand and interpret the purpose of our ancestors. So in a sense, but today I think I was given a bit of an assignment to reflect a bit about the, see the other word is coming up to me. I wrote it down as I spoke with Aris. And before, of course, I thought I should really thank Dr. Terrell for this gracious invitation and, of course, for Aris and all of you for being present here. But knowing that there's limited time, that's why I dispense of that so I can speak with you. And hopefully, if you have some questions I'm able to answer, I will try to do my best. But I believe that the task that I was proposed, if I will, is to reflect a little bit about the promise of Haiti. Is that correct? And I mulled over it last night. Wow, the promise of Haiti. What could I talk about it? What could I say about a promise? What is a promise? And it occurred to me that a promise is something that it's always future-oriented. In other words, I say, I will be there tomorrow, so I promise you to be around, or I promise you to do this. So therefore, it is something that I emit for a day to come. And I find that I was having difficulty coming up with a way of expressing this. And so I had to then go into the deep well of my people's understanding of certain words, and not because of the vocabulary meaning of the word, but because of the lived experience of what the word means, you see. Because I cannot speak but from the perspective of those people before they were Haitians, they were Africans. And they were Africans from various communities in Africa, Bamilenke, Fulbe, Fulanis, Yoruba, Ifan, Fanti. All of these people who were taken from their homeland, put in a slave ship to be enslaved. They were not slaves. In Haiti, we don't believe that people are slaves, but there are people you can enslave. Two different perspectives. They were put into a halls of ships to be shipped to an unknown place. And the only thing that they had with them is their memory. They didn't have a book. They spoke different languages. They had different belief systems. They worshipped somewhat differently. But they understood that in that slave ship, that they were bound to a place that they didn't know, but it did not matter because they were still there. That is what we say in Haitian Creole, nous là toujours, we are still here. And that notion of being still here, to exist, means that you project yourself into a future, not yesterday. Because yesterday already gave birth to you. Tomorrow is what you will give birth to. So consequently, the difficulty of thinking about promise, I was thinking all the time about gift. What is the gift that I think the Haitian people may be giving to the world that the world perhaps has not yet humbled itself enough to understand that it is a gift? And I can speak like that because I'm outside. I can speak like that because universities were open to me and I learned in the European books and other Western books to read and to write and so on. So I can then reflect because I am on horseback between two worlds. I go in between them. So I go back and so I can translate what I believe, what I think, what I glean that is in the soul of the people who cannot speak as I'm speaking now. In other words, the shoeless people, people who never wore shoes, people who do not have shirts, do not have fancy shoes, do not speak different languages like I'm speaking, but they speak a language of love and determination, of what people call resilience, because they are a people of tomorrow. And so that makes me to think about what is faith in the soul of the Haitian people. How do we understand faith? F-A-I-T-H. We do not confuse faith with fate. F-A-T-E. You see. And faith is not something that we can speak about by opening a book and to say, here is a verse in that book and in that text. The other day, not too long ago, somebody came to my house, knocked on the door, opened, and she wanted to read to me some passages about faith. And I said, close your book, let us talk. You see, because faith is something that you exude. It is not something that you read to someone because it is poetic. So the Haitian people not having any book, not having any vocabulary or any thesaurus where you can see which word can carry out what is in their soul, they begin to live a reality. And the reality they live was fashioned by what people see as suffering. And the Haitian people see it as a gift, because it is through that travail, through that suffering, through that adversity, that you then are given a jolt to carry on. But you know, we are not the only people. I find that also in the soul of the Africans who are in the United States. When people say we make a way out of no way, you see, we are a people of oxymorons. We create paradoxes. Our language is full of oxymorons, contradictions that are complementary but not opposite. Does that make sense? You see, this is what I begin to understand the more I mull over what exactly are my people saying. In their sayings, in their pithy sayings, not philosophies put out in some kind of textbook or in a book that is to be sold because they have editors and everybody else will tell you what to put. No, spontaneously they come up with the understanding that you can stumble, but the stumbling is a jolt that enables you to wake up. So I am very happy that to see the song, The Little Light of Mine, which I've heard, but I never actually read. Because I thought yesterday also, as I'm thinking about what am I going to say about this promise? Is it a promise or a gift? And I thought, you know, it is a gift. It is a gift to me also, and you have given it to me also by inviting me to reflect upon the promise of Haiti. And I begin to realize that you have granted me a gift. Because a promise, when you say, well, so-and-so has promise, meaning that somehow that person will develop into something. You know, it's always for tomorrow. But when it's a gift, it's immediate. It is given to you. It is not a loan. It is not a promise, but a gift. That is to say, something that you buy and you take. Does it ask you to give it in return? Not necessarily. But I did think that the little doubt of mine just jolted something as in my mind. And I remember as a youngster, I was always an avid reader, and I read a passage in a book written by Friedrich Nietzsche, also sprach Zarathustra, or thus spoke Zarathustra. And when Zarathustra, if you know the story better than I, Zarathustra is coming down the mountain, and he looks up and he looks at the sun, and he said, "Oh, great star," I'm paraphrasing, "what would be your purpose if it were not for those for whom you shine?" In other words, that the purpose and the meaning of the sun is that it shines for others. So in a sense, Haitians, we learn to understand that we have an obligation, a duty, not for yesterday, but for tomorrow. To be ourselves the gift to others, you see. Not only to receive, but to give. Now, we can receive things, because there's also a difference between what a person is and what a person has. And who a person is. So we learn to cultivate who we are rather than what we have. So my teachers, people whom I revere, never could decipher the hieroglyphs in a page. They did not know how to read or write, either French, English, or even the language that they speak. But it didn't matter. They were giants. There were people who were the most philosophically attuned because they understood life. It is from their own experiences that their religiosity and spirituality emerge, not from the experience in somebody else. They did not wait for someone else to tell them their story, because there is something that I understand that they understand, and I'm slowly beginning to understand, however difficult it is in such a materialistic world as America. You know, our cathedrals have become shopping malls. Our religions have become purchasing. Our God has become the almighty dollar. But you see, but what they understood is this, and I'll leave you with that, because that is the gift I think they gave to me. And to the extent that it is a valuable gift, I will share with you what I interpret has been their gift to me. And I may be wrong, and so it's left for interpretation, further interpretation, elaboration. That is, every individual, and I mean the word individual, every person is born with a responsibility not only for themselves but for others. Why? Because we understand, because of the precariousness of life. As you mentioned justifiably, the earthquake in Haiti killed thousands of people. Well, I don't remember the number. But life continues. And in their death, they taught us a lesson. That is to say that we cannot wait for tomorrow to do that which we were meant to be, or to do. We must do it now. Because if we don't do it, nobody else will do that. So as what I understand that they give us is that as individuals, we are supremely unique, in the sense that there is no other you. There is no other you. You can have a twin, what they call a Siamese twin. That other is another, not you. Your dreams are your dreams. Your death is your death. No one can die in your place. No matter how much you love your children, you can say, wait, I'll die for you. I'll die in your place. You cannot. And because of that supreme truth, that you can only die your own death, then therefore you can only live your own life. But what is your life without dreams of a promise, to use that word, and a gift for tomorrow? So in other words, what they tell us, what they tell me, is I have to show up in my life. That they say to me, show up in your life. Do not walk under the tree of forgetfulness. There's a tree actually called the tree of forgetfulness in Haiti. Always remember, but do not carry the past with you into your future. That's another thing. I'm translating what they tell me. Do not carry the past with you into your future. And I begin to understand that is why in Haiti, very few people talk about slavery. Because slavery didn't make the people. The people were always free. Freedom is something that you carry in your soul. Somebody can manacle you, shackle you, mistreat you. But there's a certain moment that if you accept that mistreatment, and accept the manacle, if you become responsible for it, then you are indeed enslaved. But even in the condition of abject poverty, the Haitian person believes himself to be extremely rich. Because he's free of the wants, free of the desires, free of the jealousy, free of all the other things that can encumber one's mind because of what you have. The poorest person in Haiti is perhaps the richest. And some of you have seen when you went to Haiti, all the tall, what do you call the walls with spikes on them, protecting their earthly goods. All of these big iron gates to close their doors, the air-conditioned vehicles with windows up, having no time to speak with anyone, rushing. This is the world that we have become. And somewhere along the line, there is a place in the Caribbean, a little place where Africans live, continuing to live in the perpetual now, but not without the thinking of tomorrow, not without thinking of their responsibility to self and others. And so, I'm skirting around a lot of issues here because I understand that I'm at CTS and I don't want to appear to be comparing any kind of spiritual expression. But the Haitian people, the majority, it is not so much that they are Christians, but they are Christ-like, if I may say. Because the notion of Christos is not simply a word. You see, the person feels himself to be anointed by being unique and unduplicatable. You are anointed. You are chosen. It sounds like the converse, the reverse of humility, doesn't it? But no. Because of that, you have a responsibility. That is why in Haiti, a person can come from whatever walk of life, whatever religion, whatever book that you have, and you speak to any Haitian, at least I talk about my teachers, my community. No matter whatever book you open, you tell them, they will agree with you. Because it is still part of the same spirituality. It doesn't matter what you call the fundamental principle that draws you, that gives you sustenance. Allah, God, Muhammad, whatever it is okay. Because we understood. I think it is that experience that created that. I may be wrong, but that is an experience that created that understanding in the depth of the slave ship. When the Africans no longer saw themselves as Bamilenke, Fufulbe, Fulani, Yoruba, or whatever, they saw themselves as one with one destiny. Not with a kind of notion of nationalism, not with a kind of ideology, no. Understanding that somehow they have one destiny. They have one purpose, and that purpose, however simple it was, meant everything. To continue to be. You know that in the Haitian language, the verb to be almost doesn't exist. Do you know why? I think, again, I may be wrong. Some linguists may correct me. Just like a fish may not know it's in water. Or as my mother tells me, or used to tell me, salt doesn't boast of its saltiness. To be is implicit, is immediate. It is not a reflection. It is a being here now. Does that make sense? The word that comes close to it, there are two words that come close to be, in the verb to be. Ye and is I. There is that reflectivity doesn't really exist. I discovered that very late when I was trying to translate the pithy phrase of René Descartes, the French philosopher, cogito ergo sum in Latin. I think, therefore I am. And I realized the I amness could not be translated in my language. Because when I say I'm already, amness already is present. Does that make sense? If I say I think, that is that I'm doing something. I'm engaged in a particular activity. But the I already expresses my beingness. So I cannot continue to translate I think, therefore I am. The I amness is untranslatable. Why? Because it is already implicit. It's immanent, not transcendent. Our people understand whatever terminology that we use, expression that we use to express what we mean by God. It seems to me that our people understand it as immanence. It is in us as we are in it. That is powerful. But it is not simply knowing this so you can say it in front of a lectern. It is to live it every day. It is the difference between having a recipe book and knowing how to cook. It is a difference between cooking a meal and eating the meal and assimilating the meal in your system. See, there are degrees of separation between knowing that and knowing how, and also being something. So the gift, I think, that Haitians have given, with all the fantastic words that people have used to express it, resilience, other terms, the people have suffered, they spring back. It is something that all of us have in us. All of us have it in us. It is easy for us to be called upon to look at other person to see, how can I help you, my brother or my sister? But in extending the hand, and when the other touches your hand, the other helps you. It's always reciprocal. It's never one way. And that understanding of this reciprocity, the understanding of community, the letting go of individuality and selfishness, I think is what the Haitian people have to remind us, that my people have to remind, I would say, in our primitiveness. And I don't use the word in any pejorative way. No words can be pejorative if you don't make it pejorative for yourself. In our simplicity, in our way of understanding the world based upon our own experiences, our travails, our hopes, our dreams, and what speaks to us most profoundly in our heart, not in a book. And I have nothing wrong against books now, by the way, don't get me wrong. I am a person of books. But what I'm suggesting is that when we go to Haiti, there is a whole bunch of people that we pass by we do not see. We do not see them because sometimes we don't want to see them, because they are a mirror that reminds us of our responsibility. And responsibility means freedom. And we are all afraid of being free. By freedom, I mean to say that to step into being who you are, to do your duty towards yourself and others, it is very difficult. It demands a lot. It's extremely demanding. It's extremely demanding. So we hold on to the past because the past somehow is already a justification for us not to do. Because we say, well, I did try to do that yesterday, it didn't work, and so therefore I cannot venture into, so we become paralyzed and stop ourselves from acting. Another thing also that I thought about when I thought about the promise, I don't know why I thought about it. I must have dreamt about it also. You gave me a lot of gifts yesterday to think about. Is as a child, and here again I have to resort to certain things that I've read or stories that I heard. Haitians love to give stories about two types of trees. The oak tree, it's actually not oak, but in Haiti it's called a mapu. A mapu is a tall, huge tree, almost like a baobab, but it's extremely taller than the baobab. And the idea is that when the baobab falls, thank you. I will end. When a baobab falls, 3 others will spring up. But there's also another idea, is that the baobab is tall and majestic. When the wind blows, the majestic baobab withstands the wind. It is often uprooted. However, there is another a reed, roseau. I don't know the word in English. Is it reed? It's a thing that is pliant. that whenever the wind can blow, it will be pliant. It will never fall because it bends. It is more humble. It bends with the element. And so the lesson that they give us is that be like the reed, bend. So whomever comes to us and offer a gift, take it. And remember that you also have to give a gift in return, because it's a reciprocity that must exist. I know that I've overstepped the time that was allotted, but as it's always, you should never ask a Haitian to speak for 5 minutes, you see. Because we 5 minutes is the time it takes us to think about what we're going to talk about. 10 minutes is the time it takes us for the introduction. And 45 minutes is when we're warming up. But thank you very, very much. I am very pleased that you invited me here and I mulled over. I did write something, but I thought perhaps to stay true to form, I will speak my heart. I said nothing of what I wrote about, but it doesn't matter. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. What a blessing it is to join you for this special service honoring the people of Haiti. It's been just over a month since our class returned, and for me, it's been a month of deep reflection. In the weeks leading up to the trip, I questioned my decision to participate many, many times, and even considered backing out at the last moment. Prior to the trip, we were assigned readings and movies to teach us the realities of Haitian life and the culpability of the United States in perpetuating their endless cycle of dependence on Western aid. I was anxious about how I would respond to the people of Haiti and the poverty I would encounter. I questioned whether I was prepared to witness so much suffering. What would the people of Haiti think of me, a white person from the United States who had so much? What did I have to offer to improve the lives of the people, to change the trajectory of their suffering? The day before I was scheduled to leave on the trip, I was encouraged by friends to lean into my fears and anxieties and embark on a journey that I knew instinctively would reveal my spiritual poverty and transform my heart. Indeed, this was what I was truly afraid of. Little did I know that transformation would occur on the first day. That morning, we left our hotel to travel to an area of Port-au-Prince called Cité Soleil, a community recognized as one of the poorest and most dangerous in the Western Hemisphere. Here, the people live in cinder block homes near open sewers and are surrounded by mounds of rotting trash. Resources are scarce, and the needs of the people seem limitless. Our first stop was to join in worship with a local Baptist church. We arrived late, so we took seats in the back of the church. Also sitting in the back of the church were nearly all of the children, who greeted us with big smiles and curious eyes. Beautiful children dressed in their Sunday best. I was struck by the colorful ribbons the girls wore in their hair, creating a kind of rainbow throughout the pews. Some CTS students changed seats to sit among the children, who seemed eager to interact with this group of strangers. I stayed seated in the back. I wasn't ready. When the service ended, we walked through the streets until we reached an area next to an open sewer. Here, joined by the church pastor and local leaders, we had an opportunity to ask questions. I didn't know where to start, so I just listened. At the same time, we were surrounded by children who lived nearby. Some children without shoes, some without pants and shirts, undeniably children in need. They pointed at our cell phones and without words communicated that they wanted their pictures taken. Upon seeing themselves and their friends in photos, they laughed uncontrollably, pointing at one another. It was a joyful scene. At one point, a young girl approached me and took my hand. Standing together in silence, we listened to the local leaders, hand in hand, for several minutes. Then she slowly turned, never letting go of my hand, to stand in front of me, leaning her body into mine, and wrapped my arm around her body in an embrace. At that moment, I looked down at the young girl in my arms and around at the countless children surrounding our group, many in the arms of other students, and I knew we were in the presence of Christ. So palpable was Christ's presence that I remember glancing toward the cinder block homes and thinking, if Jesus were to emerge from one of these homes and walk among us, nothing would change. Christ had revealed Christ's self, wrapped in my arms and mingling among my classmates. To tell you that this moment in time transformed my heart would be an understatement. There really are no adequate words. The remaining 9 days were filled with opportunities to learn from Haitians about their desires for Haiti's future and to learn about how we can contribute to breaking the cycle of dependency and to improving their daily lives. For me, Christ was present at every turn in the road, in every face that we saw, and in every voice that we heard, in all that I witnessed. A journey I began with great hesitancy and fear, ended with great joy and thanksgiving, and with the realization that I had returned to the United States a different person, with a new vision of the meaning of justice. Peace and blessings to you all.
Yet they rise. You know, when I went on this trip, I thought about it a lot because I've been involved in Haiti for some 10 years now, working with an English language program. We've taken maybe 5 or 6 students into the U.S., got them scholarships, and they've graduated. But one of the biggest issues for us and for Haiti is that once you come here and you get educated, you don't go back. And so, my thoughts were, in fact, that how can we create there, which the powers that be has not allowed to be created. And when I say that, I say that from a point of view. My grandmother was Haitian. She was born in Port-au-Prince. We're all messed up. She married a Choctaw Indian, and from that, we all kind of flowed. But I had not a real upbringing as a Haitian because it really wasn't a part. You know, we was raised in Compton, which is a whole different thing. But what I have been able to identify with is the persecution that people of color face and are subjected to, no matter where they are within this diaspora. And so that was very, very much prominent there. And you know, one of the things that I've taken away, and I didn't write remarks, I just want to kind of give you my views. But one of the things that I have taken away is not, when we go to Haiti, you're subjecting yourselves to abject poverty. You're subjecting yourselves to, the joblessness, and there's really nothing there in terms of an economy. And I guess I asked myself the question that back in the days of the colonial days, Haiti was the most lucrative property in the world. It was a colony by which allowed France and Spain and others to grow. And so how does it become all that, yet today it sits in abject poverty? And the only thing that we can even point to is a role that they have played in terms of the liberation of slavery, liberating their own country, acting as a host for the liberation movements within the Americas and beyond. When Simon Bolivar came, the only thing, and they supplied him not only with supplies, with ships and with men, and the only thing that they asked is that you free the slaves. I mean, what we've seen from the U.S. in terms of the policies toward Haiti, I think as one of the speakers just mentioned, the only time that they even recognized the independence in Haiti was in 1866, some 60 years after independence. And this is at the same time when just very recently in the city of Savannah, Georgia, they have a statute that they recognize for the 500 soldiers that Haiti sent over to fight in the War of Independence, to drive the British out, that they sacrificed back in 1799. Yet in 1866, they're recognized. And even now, when you go to Haiti, what you see is an occupation of U.S. forces that continue to hold down the people. And so for me, you know, how does a colony go from there to what it is today, and what are the implications for the rest of us? What is it that we must do in terms of liberating Haiti? That's what Jesus was all about, in my recognition. And so when I think about this, I think that the fight is still on. I applaud CTS for going to Haiti, and they need to go back, and they need to go back. It's not because the Haitian people are it's not because the Haitian people are hurting in spirit. We found spirit there that you won't see any other place. All right, we found a source of pride because they had done what they've done. They understood their history, unlike some of us in this country. And so when I look at Haiti, there's a lot of things that are instructive for us here that we need to be understanding, and understanding their spirit. You know, Paul says that when you take in the Lord, you bring in a champion. You have a conqueror within you. The people of Haiti has a conqueror within them. We need the help in terms of what it is that we can do to manifest that justice. But all I can say is, yet they rise, no matter what. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Haiti is speaking. American Airlines Flight 1532 arrives at Port-au-Prince. We were greeted with Junior's beautiful smile, so bright. I felt Haiti recognized me. It welcomed me with open arms. It shared similarities with Puerto Rico, the countryside, the richness of the cuisine with the delicious plátanos, and the history of the Taíno Indians. I felt a sense of nostalgia of my homeland. Now, it was a sunny day at Cité Soleil, and I felt God's presence in my ache. I was awakened to a level of systemic poverty. There was a cosmic energy of life mixed with the reality of government neglect. The pastor and the leaders of the community walked and gathered with us. We were greeted by a sea of beautiful children, giggles and smiles. The air was filled with innocence. As little hands reached out for hugs, God's love was whispering in the wind. It was a blessing to be a part of the earthquake memorial. Dr. Terrell's words flowed. The trees listened, while the wind carried the message across, guiding it gently as grief entered. The sunbeam touched the beauty in tears and in pain. Now, Junior was our guide, but he was more than that. He was a part of us. Junior had some mad driving skills. The traffic had his own nervous system transmitting signals to different parts of his body. The honks from the tap-taps with the psychedelic colors and the visions of Ludacris, White Jesus, and Tupac, only to name a few of the rainbow of the vehicles that carried people to their destinations. Communities on wheels. There was mopeds beeping and swerving in and out, while the people walked naturally, communicating with each other step by step, flowing in their own nervous system. The beats of human life in concert at the same time. It was electrifying. Now, the roosters, they congregated outside Gertrude's advocacy at 2 in the morning. No longer an early morning wake-up call, but it was a wake-up call nonetheless. To listen to the sounds around us, nature calling, the land, she was telling her story. The wasted materials were living fixtures on the sidewalks. Simple and complex were these things, but they were calling to heal, calling to recycle. Now, Haitians spoke their truth with the beats of the drums to the voodoo, to the lyrics of freedom, of liberation of their faith. And music brings joy and life to their hips as that dance compa. Now, the art, it reflects its passions and its barriers. Now, Lamont Paul reminded us about the power of critical thinking and the power of art that conveys the liberation message of ecology in his gorgeous secret tapestry. It spoke volumes about activism through art. Now, Haitians, they are leading the way with intergenerational organizers working to build uphill stairs in their communities. Several people are working with vulnerable children, each of them making a difference. It was incredible to see their programs and witness their work. It was so profound to hear the stories and their narratives of how they had points of surrender, their courage, their dedication, their love, their resilience, and call to God's work, and their life was faith in action. Now, Haitians are working to restore their economy through communities of entrepreneurs. Now, I learned how to do ministry work and missionary work in a collaborative way. Immediate relief in moments of catastrophe are always honored and welcomed. But for longevity solutions, let's plan sustainable partnerships together. Now, the Citadel was this mysterious place. Now, the raindrops were dancing upon my body as my horse, which was called 4x4, carried me uphill. It was unbelievable. I caught my breath when I saw the size of this beautiful masterpiece. Each step I took, someone stood there before me. All the tears and the lives to build it. Words could not express. It was such a sacred space, more than a symbol of life and strength, revolution and freedom. So we shared our last meal together as a collective, laughing and sharing stories. It was a sight. The moments of vulnerability that we shared as individuals and collectively were a blessing. Haiti is speaking. Do not forget me, as I will not forget your steps on my land, your energy on my bosom, and your tears on my shoulders. Share your history of Haiti with all its realities. Honor it. Haiti awaits your return with open arms to foster partnerships that will be sustainable for all our people. Haiti is speaking.
Hi, everyone. When I went to Haiti, truthfully, nothing fazed me. The poverty was home to me. The landscape was home to me. The people were my people. The only thing, I wasn't able to speak the French, but they were more interested in speaking English, so I didn't have a problem. So I stood tall, and I said to myself, why am I here? And in the silence, it came to my heart that I should ask Haiti, who are you? Because as a Jamaican, I proudly stand as a Jamaican today. Haiti is my neighbor, but I know very little about Haiti beyond what I don't want to know. So in my conversation with Haiti, Haiti says to me, I'm like the bougainvillea. I, Haiti, bear many names. To my origin, I am Haiti. To my captors, I was La Isabelle Espagnole. To some, I am Haiti the forgotten yet free. To the others, I'm Haiti the proud yet poor. A land where children are forgotten, education is not free, and health care is delayed. Does that sound familiar? To the faithless, chaos is my given name. Who am I? Yet from the air, all you can see are divine mountains, skillfully architectured by God, where plants that were intended to creep now walk and stand tall. Who am I? A land where ruins and overgrowth speaks words of wisdom, speaks words of courage. Who am I? A land where faith speaks. My friend Tim caught a picture of me. I could not find that picture. When Haiti said to me, listen as my black shiny tip of my flowery bloom echoes your inner thought, that you're here to see the hills that you look to for your strength. Who am I? Come, my bougainvillea. I am the arid yet flush, the bright yet pale, the strong yet weak. Walk with me, my searching bougainvillea. I am Haiti. Collectively, a survivor of massive, unthinkable natural disasters. Single-handedly, I am that mother, that father, that child, whose smiles warm the hills you are about to climb. Who am I? My bougainvillea, here lies the joy of my existence, my citadel, the free. Be silent, hush. My petal, pay attention, my bougainvillea, at the price of freedom. I stand proud, the citadel, but empty. I won the battle, but the war continues. Take my image with you, my bougainvillea. Let not the clouds from my citadel hide the peaks of your life. Who am I? Gasp not at the skeleton of my Sanssouci palace or the ruins of my citadel, of my cathedral Notre Dame. Instead, move your hips to the rhythm of the compa. Come on, Tim, move with me. Or gaze in the awe of the elegance of the costumes of the encased voodoo queen. Look beyond the tooting horns of my colorful taxicabs. They meander left and right, up and down. And the nakedness of my sons. Instead, revel in the memory of Haiti, the Haitian hospitality, from the kitchens of the seminary, the orphanage, to the breakfast table of the magnificent, resilient hotel. Bask in the empowerment of my floating balloons. Who am I? When you think of resilience, consider Port-au-Prince. Amidst the rubbles of earthquake and hurricanes, and the remnants of non-biodegradable objects, hush, my child. My bougainvillea stands tall amidst parched soils. When you close your questioning petals at nights, consider all my lilies that dwell in the gates of hell. When you close your eyes, consider my lilies that gaze. They dwell in the gates of hell. Whisper a prayer for my parks where my precious petals tint the hues of hopelessness. Run wild with the swines. Where children run wild with swines, they are my petals. Embrace the spirit of my congregations packed with kids worshiping my future. Tiptoe at the sound of the slippers made from recycled tires. Pant at the sight of my economically efficient sample houses. Breathe from the fragrance of my iron ores. Look at my ironwork. Marvel at the images of the birds created with the radiant beads. Who am I? When your petals unfold in the morn, pretend you are standing high at the tip of my observatory, and let your thoughts envelop the soot from Cité Soleil, the murky beachfront of Jacmel, the flush green tip of Cap Haitian, and the seaside view of Khmer, as they hang free, blooming in elegant expectation, waiting, waxing in God's grace. You ask, who am I? I am Haiti, your teacher. Breathe, my bougainvillea. Grasp at the lessons you learned from my spirited mountains. Speak to the hills amidst. Speak to the hills amidst the trust of my classmates. We collectively decided we could not climb that hill that day. Amidst our shout for Tim, there are some mountains that you cannot climb. Regardless of your screams, you cannot climb them. Talk faithfully of the long journey around those hills. Remember my concrete forests, where houses are packed on houses, rather called the zone. Bella about their spirits that are determined to climb those hills one step at a time. Step by step, they're building stairways to their mountains. I am your neighbor, a prototype of Eden. You ask, who am I? A place where my bougainvilleas stand tall above the hills of tragedy, above the hills of poverty, my hills. Now go, my bougainvillea, creep over your hills of peopleism. Perch high on the mountains of excess. Illuminate your gardens of injustice. Feign over your hills of gun violence, racism, zip codism, sexism. Scream loudly against impending fabricated fortresses of exclusivity. Spread your petals one by one. Breathe, my friend. Inhale the fragrance of my bloom. I am Haiti the strong, the resilient. I am the bougainvillea which now resides in you. Creep if you must, but stand tall when you have to. Be proud. Goodbye, my friend. Godspeed, my bougainvillea.
For the sake of time, I'm going to be very short. First and foremost, I thank Chicago Theological Seminary to even think about allowing these two wonderful women to take 8 students to Haiti. I take my hat off to an institution that is radical enough to take us to a place where we can radically find out who we are. And to those individuals that I had the honor and the pleasure of living with for 10 days, I take my hat off to you. It was a wonderful and amazing trip. Some of the things that they have shared with you that is nestled in romance and also in the struggle throughout our trip, you might have heard me chuckle, and that because the backdrop and the subtext of the conversation, you must meet with them and ask them about that. The bottom line is going on this trip, it wasn't so much as the resilience of the Haitian community, but how resilient were we? We were faced in a scenario and situations in which we didn't have hot water, there weren't any roads, we slept in the orphanage where there was sometimes no electricity. So how resilient are you in those moments, especially when you're used to having hot water and other amenities that we take for granted? One of the things that I've learned in Dr. Ringer's class in the past 3 weeks is to talk about, morals and ethics. That cup of coffee, does it has any morals or ethics attached to it? When you start thinking about where did that cup of coffee come from, and were the farmers paid, and were they paid well, then you understand every day when you get up and drink that cup of coffee who you're affecting. People across the ocean, and sometimes people in this country. So when we were in Haiti, that allowed us to be able to reflect on exactly what we're doing. Over 10,000 NGOs and over 100 different political organizations. And organizations coming in that have no governance over what they're doing in communities. So when you think about chaos and you think about that type of energy and how people can still bring out some of the most beautiful pieces of arts, they can take soapstone and create something that is so awesome that you just marvel at it for hours on end. When they can take the iron and make these wonderful gates that are keeping people out but also allowing people in. When you think about Vadum, not voodoo, but Vadum, and you think about Christianity, and you think about how do people draw from within and be able to produce without, to other people outside of themselves. When you are in the face of dealing with the advocacy for children that have no place to go, but then there's someone to open their door to receive them. It is simply humbling to be able to stand before you and to understand the bottom line is that we all connected. Whatever you do today is connected to someone somewhere else. And I can guarantee you it is connected to someone in Haiti. Be mindful of what you do. Be mindful of what you share. And be mindful of what you project to be the promise of the future. I thank you for your time, and God bless you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Just for some of our new friends in the room, I want to provide a little context to the reflection I'll share with you. For those of you who were on the trip, this is a constant theme I think you heard from me. But the first piece of context is personal, and the second is vocational. I've spent now nearly a year of my life on the island of Hispaniola over the last decade, working with various NGOs, as well as spending a 6-month stint in 2012 in the Dominican Republic, the other country that shares the island with Haiti, in order to complete the adoption process for our daughter, Emily. Emily, as those of you who were on the trip know, is biologically Haitian. And so I felt a very deep personal connection to Haiti and a terrific sense of responsibility in learning about her heritage. The second part of context is the impetus on me attending CTS in the first place, let alone attend this study tour. And that was a desire to further educate and prepare myself to assist locally run and empowered non-governmental organizations in the Dominican and Haiti that are truly focused on their own sustainable objectives, not those objectives that many of us in the Western world think we want to impose on them. So against that backdrop, I share some thoughts I've put to writing, and I actually have begun to share in open letters and to the NGOs that I'm working with, and it's kind of a gut check for us. And so here it goes. Many of who are leaders of NGOs and or faith-based organizations, have an opportunity to change the paternalistic mindset that has become so prevalent amongst our ranks. The local church, international missions, and NGOs provide an existing and needed infrastructure to create the new missional ethic necessary to support these objectives. Viewed in this light, religion and faith, to the extent it is the claim of many of the 10,000 NGOs operating in Haiti, must play a role in changing the norms, acts, and institutions that stand in the way of full and equal participation in life for Haitians. Those who are preparing to serve the local church, international missions, and faith-based NGOs must have clarity and intention around Christ's amazing radical proclamation of becoming one new humanity, as well as the earthly ministry he carried out in support of this objective. Jesus was a bridge builder, moving society towards we from us and them, by navigating a multicultural context, which was the society of his time, with a clear intention to radically and racially change society and to serve the marginalized. To this point, author Curtis DeYoung argues, Jesus sought not only to heal people's pain, but to inspire and empower people to remove the unjust social and political structures so that too often were the cause of their pain. It means that Jesus had a clear and unambiguous vision of the healthy world God intended, and that he addressed any issue, social, economic, or political, that violated that vision. Jesus, however, in the context of the Western missional foreign aid ethic, has been de-radicalized to make the oppressed compliant. It is important that those of us working in the local church, international missions, and faith-based NGOs recognize and reconcile this fact. My point here is that becoming a true partner, rather than just a paternalistic resource distributor operating in the country of Haiti, means one must take the time to understand their culture, to understand history and sources of oppression, including not only the internal sources of oppression by the haves, if you will, in Haiti, but also external actors like the United States who have a very complicit role in establishing the conflict and condition in Haiti. To understand the nuances of the economy, and with this contextual lens, to listen in order to execute upon the Haitians' sustainable social, economic, vocational, and spiritual objectives, not ours. Finally, given the enormity of the challenge facing Haiti and a bit of reflection upon how we in this room, both physically and virtually, like myself, how we situate ourselves within this enormous challenge that's facing Haiti, I leave my friends with an opportunity to reflect upon a story shared with us by Haitian artist and activist Lamont Lumiere. While we visited, he shared with us a large tapestry he had designed after adapting an old Native American folk story to fit the present conditions upon the island. In this image, one sees Haiti burning out of control. To Lamont, this represents the deforestation, the environmental degradation, the corruption, and the suffering in general across the island. Running away from the forest that is burning are all the animals, some looking scared and some watching and looking back indifferently, except for a single hummingbird that had scooped up a beak full of water and is seen in this image dropping it upon the raging fire. Lamont explains that the animals with the indifferent expressions are ridiculing the hummingbird and saying, "How can you, the littlest of creatures, stop that raging fire with only one beakful of water?" To which the hummingbird replies, "I will do my part." I am thankful for the experience I had with CTS in Haiti this January. I feel a calling and a passion renewed. I feel a new sense of clarity and purpose for my vocational objectives. I pray that I have the courage of the hummingbird and that I'll find a way to do my part. The end.
Our trip was made possible by so many people, and we want to thank everyone who went on the journey with us. We want to thank Dr. Belanger-Bear. We want to thank also Karen Fellinger of My Powerful Travels, who coordinated our trip and made sure we had the kinds of experiences that we sought out. And she is on the WebEx with us today, and I just want to introduce her quickly to you and to say thank you very, very much for an excellent experience that we had. Thank you so much, Karen, and we want to give you applause. The time has been greatly, time we have in chapel has been greatly expanded by the longer than 2-minute reflections that we've had, and by the wonderful reflection we have from Dr. Belanger-Bear, and we're not mad at you at all for what you have given us today. Thank you so very much. So we're going to forego the song, and we're just going to give the benediction and say grace, and everyone is invited to have lunch with us. Gracious God, for these experiences, we give you thanks and praise for the friendships made, for the connections that we made to the Haitian people, for the love that they imparted to us, for the inspiration that they continuously give us. We give you thanks and praise. And we thank you now for the food that we're about to receive. May we be mindful of those who have not. Maybe we have courage to do our part. This we pray in your many and wonderful names. Amen. There are a number of videos that you can continue to look and see.
Please.